precision robotics and automation solutions in the Industry 4.0 economy. These are the core capabilities of PBA Group, a leading robotics and automation enabler in Southeast Asia. Founded in 1987, the business has evolved from its early beginnings as a ball bearings distributor to a regional leader in robotics technology. The company is now run by the family's second-generation leader.
When we first started, right, when we were a hardware store, essentially buying and selling like bearings, belts and all that, right? But fast forward to today, the business is so different. The only thing that really remained was the name, right? And the culture, but everything that we were doing is so different from then. I don't know what will come in like 10, 20 years down, right? But it could, and I think it should change also along with the times, right? So if the business keeps changing, the one that's guiding the change is the leader, right?
Only 15% of family businesses worldwide have a plan in place for management succession. In Indonesia, Southeast Asia's largest economy, family businesses account for almost all businesses in the country. But only 13% survive into the third generation.
What makes you feel that you are that 13 and not that 87? So stepping down, of course, a lot of people think is a decision, but it's not. It's an evolution. You step aside, you step around, you step behind, but eventually you step down or step away.
Unlike business families in the US and Europe, with several generations of successful and sustained transitions, many Asian business families are in the early stages of their life cycle, with most of them in their second and third generations. On top of this, there are cultural challenges.
Because when you talk about succession, you talk about death. That means very taboo, right? Oh, when do I take over your business? Or when do I hand over the business? It's like, life is over. So most of the time, honestly, not even the will for some, because it's just taboo. So it's actually very unstructured. If it's done properly, I think it flourishes. If it's not done properly, it perishes. Right? But I think the question is, then how do you do it?
Analysts say succession planning should be an ongoing process that is transparent and clearly communicated.
There must be a meaningful plan, and the plan has to be endorsed by the board, or at least by the family and their management team through a strategic meeting, then communicated that there is a plan. No point having a plan if it's a secret document. So people do know. My CFO, there's someone that is in training, all right? My COO, there's someone that is in training.
A good succession plan for any family is to leverage the veterancy of the founding generation, and the innovation of the next generation. The 2G and 3G and the 3G and 4G, right? So there's always the interdependence because the founding generation have all the relationship capital and the wisdom, but they may not have the innovation.
But the succession process remains one of the biggest challenges facing family firms.
They are, caught in a bind because if you name a successor early, there might be unhappiness in some of the other family members. So usually what they do is they try to divide and conquer. So they try to cut the business into parts and hope that maybe can give one sibling, one son, a part of the business, a continent. But the world is global, so you might encroach on each other's territory unless you build into the family this respect for that means they must have this deep respect that the harmony will be preserved.
Asian business families are at a critical stage of management succession, where next generation training and development is imperative. Increasingly, trusted non-family management and advisors have an essential role to play in facilitating business family transitions.
My succession planning is done firstly not on my kid, right, but on professional managers, and not on an individual, on multiple individuals. So that's a bit more complex because I firstly have to carve my job up so that I can train multiple people, and at the same time I have to make sure that the people that I'm training have a backup plan, right? Because if they rise to a position, then the people below them have to fill up the position that they're in. Yeah, so it's a bit more elaborate. My wish is I should be able to cast the net a bit wider, put in a bit more effort, and be able to groom our international colleagues to also be in the C-suite.
And in a fast-changing world, it is increasingly important for leaders themselves to know when it's time to hand over the reins.
Most of the family leaders, when they're at their 50, they think they're immortal. At their 60, they still think, yeah, mortality is something that is not so real. When they hit 70, it becomes very real. You can feel that suddenly there's a sense of urgency. Yeah. Then that is always one telltale sign that they feel, yeah, it's really time for me to move on. I mean, to step aside for the children or an external CEO.
I'm 43 this year, right? But I started the succession planning way back already, so that I could reduce or mitigate the key man risk for ourselves. My main job is to make myself redundant. That is one of my highest KPIs. So every year, I have to make sure that I reduce the key man risk that I am to the company. If I continue staying in this position, would we be able to explore certain areas? Maybe not as much as if someone else come along, right? So I'm quite excited to see where we can go when a new management team takes on the role.